Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Sims for you. American Destroyer, Tier 6 Premium. We got Gleaves. The ship we're in doesn't really matter beyond Destroyer, because this video we're going to be talking about how to win more games. A lot of you guys are always sending me, comments in the videos or whatever. How can I win more games? My win percentage is X. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Whatever the phrasing is. And this is basically going to be how to go about doing it, okay? But the moral of the story is play the objectives. That's basically going to be how it's going to be boiling down to. And this will be a game where if we're not doing our role, the odds of the blue team winning this game are pretty low. Okay, you can evaluate that as the game goes on. But, basically the more people that you have on your team that are playing the objectives, well, the higher your chances of winning that game. Now, what playing the objectives? Well, as a destroyer, we have the lowest concealment, right? We have hard to detect ships. That means we can get far forward than our team, and that means we can get into these positions to actually capture the base. Cruisers, well, how are we testing the objectives? Well, we're pressuring the enemy destroyers, primarily pressuring the enemy ships in general. But we got these fast-firing guns. We got the consumables to counter the destroyers, whether it be radars, sonars, whatever it is. And if we can get in these positions where we can support the caps, and if our destroyer who's moving into the cap spots them, okay, we're in a good position to blast them out of the water. Battleships, what are we trying to do? We're trying to kill those cruisers. They're the biggest threat to our team's destroyers. None of the roles, none of the primary objectives are to fire at battleships sitting on the back line. Okay, that is a worthless play. The more time you spend engaged doing that, in general, the lower your win rate will be. Okay, so those are kind of a broad general idea. Carriers, newer addition to the game, but generally a well-played carrier is going to be spotting for the team, spotting those destroyers, attacking the destroyers, and then kind of game management. Okay, where can our team make inroads? Where does our team need help? Okay, and we can kind of support that because you can really generate damage anywhere in the map as the carrier player. So here we're moving into B. 2 destroyers per side. This is a really nice matchup in terms of composition. I like 1 or 2 destroyers per team, 1 or 2 battleships per team, a lot of cruisers. And that's more or less what we got here. Maybe 1 more battleship than necessary. But those to me, when you get those ship compositions and the players are playing semi-competently, those tend to be the most fun games for me. But we got B. We're keeping an eye on C now. We got one of our destroyers on C, then we got at least one red destroyer. It looks like actually both of them spotted over there. So I should be moving directly into A, correct? And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Yeah, we're going to be launching some torps while we're doing this. Okay, that's bonus damage. If you happen to get these guys with torpedoes, great. We want to be dealing damage if possible, but we don't really care about that. That's not what the destroyers are here to do. If that's what you're focusing on doing, I hate to break it to you, you're not a good destroyer player, and the people that know how to play the game well really are not going to appreciate your efforts, because what you're doing is you're not doing your role. Okay, and why is this? Well, watch the score go up on top. We got B +3. Wait 5 more seconds. It'll once again say +3. That means 36 points per minute generated per cap in this mode. Sometimes you'll see +4. I think that's usually in the 4 cap configuration games. But in those cases, 48 points per minute per cap being generated. And then just think about this conceptually. If we have all 3 caps in this game, which of course is going to be my objective as the destroyer player, to at least get 2 of the 3, because then we're going to be generating more points in the background than the red possibly can. But if we manage to get 3, we're generating over 100 points per minute. And if we sink a battleship, how it works exactly, I don't know. It's +75 points for us, -25 for them, or whatever. It's a 100-point swing for sinking a battleship. So we can actually do more good for our team by getting control of those 3 caps than sinking a battleship. And that's every minute that situation doesn't change. So you can see these games, and look at the score there. We're up 1 ship, we're up a cruiser. The cruiser, what is it worth? 85 points? 80, 85 points, whatever it is. But that's not, well, now they tied it up in terms of the ships, but look at the lead. About 70 point lead there. And now that we're getting B, well, or we got A, now they're contesting B. They're doing an admirable job. They're trying to keep the thing close in terms of the caps, but we're still have that built-in lead, and we're going to continue to do so. They did get C, so now due to the fact that B is effectively, I mean, they're trying to capture it, but we keep resetting them. I'm sitting here in the cloud, deliberately hitting this guy. I'd like to sink him because we don't want to lose B. We still control B, but we're not generating that income. We're generating income on A, red's generating income on C. That means the background score currently is frozen in time as long as this Gneiss now is on the cap. All right, if he happened to just sail off, then once again we would be generating 2 caps to 1, and we'd go back to increasing our team's lead by 36 points every minute passively. So you can see now that we've kind of crunched the numbers. Why are you losing all these games when you're not focusing on playing the caps? It's because you're putting yourself at such a huge disadvantage. Anecdotally, in my own experience, and I played a few games of this game, I'd say probably 75% of domination mode games are won by the score, and I don't know, probably about half the capture the base mode, 40-50%, somewhere in there at least. I mean, it's going to keep coming down to score. Now, capture the base mode scoring is a whole different beast. What we're trying to do there by pressuring the cap is to force the enemy to react, and we're trying to achieve a tiebreaker. Because like this game mode, we will increase our score by 3 or 4 points, 3-4 points, typically 3 in that game mode for every 5 seconds. But generally, you're not gonna, if you're gonna win on score, it's just because neither team killed themselves, fully eliminated the enemy team. So we're gonna leave capture the base mode aside, but you still want to be focusing on the cap. So that, this just kind of goes to show if we're not pressuring these caps, if we're not focused on them like a laser throughout the match, your win rate will be low, far lower than it should be. You can be, it's like kind of being a great scorer in basketball, right? Like you're the best 3-point shooter in the world, but if half the time you shoot at your own team's hoop and half the time you shoot at the opponent's hoop, you're not going to be generally regarded as a good basketball player. In fact, you're going to be detrimental to your team on a lot of people's eyes. And that's how kind of certainly unfocused destroyer play, but just in general, if you're not playing the objectives, you're not really helping your team, and in fact, you're probably actually hurting them. Okay, so the average win rate in this game is 48. If you're below that, doesn't mean you're a bad person or anything like that, but it means you certainly have room to improve in this game. And look at this play right here. This is risky. We don't have the smoke. Well, now we got it available here just a second here, but we're shooting the Surrey, but this is getting desperate. And why is it desperate? It's because they have the 2 caps to 1. Okay, and that forces, even if we're still in the lead here, but the fact that they're generating that income in the background means we need to start taking those risks. Okay, so yeah, the Surrey could have blasted us there. This game could have been a loss at that point. But we're forced to do that. And when the cap situation is not favorable for your team, you need to correct it as quickly as you possibly can. Don't say, I'll get to it in 5-10 minutes. No, the game will be over. Okay, you get these 300-400 point deficits that are built up here. Well, now, if we're sinking 3, 4, 5 battleships, we still can't climb out of that hole. Now we're forced to have to sink everyone on the enemy team, and that's at best a 50-50 proposition. And if your entire team ignores the caps, they're probably not that good players in general. So you're gonna be winning those games 20%, 30% of the time. Not a good strategy if we're actually trying to win the games. So now we're back on B here. Got on there as quickly as we safely could. We're still attacking the enemy destroyers. Ognavoy went down. Vok sighted. I've tried to position myself to block the support fire from the red with this island here. I think we still, looking on the map, probably have that Suzuya that could potentially be causing problems. But getting these destroyers off the board is critical. Okay, like, you just gotta have to know how this game works. The destroyers are primarily responsible for scoring, and you're supposed to support your destroyers. You're supposed to eliminate the enemy destroyers. That's not to say if I'm in a cruiser, I'm in a battleship, I'm never looking to capture bases. No, you want to be always looking for those opportunities. Let's say you see that destroyer south of sea right now, for instance. Let's say that ship's a cruiser And he's like, well, I could probably get behind one of these islands in the cap here and flip that cap around, maybe even deal damage while doing it from safety. Great, make that play. But don't make it off the opening play, to start with, because once again, the destroyers, why are they effective at getting those caps? Because they have that concealment. Cruisers, you're going to be spotted. You go straight into the cap to start the game, spotted, blown up, dead. Non-contributing factor, at least in a positive way. And that's not what we want to be doing. But yeah, look for those opportunities. We'll see some games from time to time on my channel where battleship, I'm in a battleship, I'll get 1 cap, 2 caps even. And that's just because you're always looking for these opportunities. But that requires looking on the map. Okay, who can reset me? If I put this battleship on the cap, I'm spotted, I'm going to get shot the whole time, then I'm not actually going to capture the cap. Yes, I will pause the scoring of that cap, which that's a strategic play that you can elect to make. And like the Gnais now, he paused our scoring briefly. He killed himself doing it, so it wouldn't have been a play that I would have elected to make personally early in the game like he did. But let's say we have a lead, or the enemy team's lead is getting out of control late in the game. Well, you have to get on caps. Okay, I had another guy that makes videos for you guys one time. I think it was like a huge damage game. Might have even been a world record. It's like, check this game out. Okay, so I watched it, and he was pumping out the damage, but he was next to a cap that was under enemy control the entirety of the game for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And I'm like, this is an awful game. I would not be bragging about this, because dealing damage is just a symptom of playing well. It's not the point of this game. If that's how you want to play the game, it's a free country, depending on where you live, I guess, but it's certainly your option to play the game however you want, but you're not going to win the game consistently. Okay, so we got A, we got B. That's the main goal for domination mode. Capture a flank, capture the middle, defend the middle. Okay, so if I wanted to just be aggressively defending B here, that would be an option, but I got 1 battleship, 1 cruiser, and myself. They got 1 battleship, 1 cruiser, and 1 destroyer. And I'm thinking, okay, well, look at where the destroyer was last spotted. I can go hunt him, which is one of my main goals as a destroyer player, counter the enemy destroyer, and I can do that while flipping the cap, or even if we don't end up getting the cap, we can at least pause the scoring, because once again, right now we're getting 72 points per minute, they're getting none. As long as I'm on this cap, that's the outcome. So we're almost getting a destroyer's worth of scoring. If I sink an enemy destroyer, I think it's about a 75 point swing. I should probably know these values. I keep checking them out and then I forget about them, but battleship for sure 100. I think carrier's 110, and then cruiser slightly less than battleship, destroyer slightly less than cruiser. Okay, but this is more effective than just fighting these guys. Okay, now here's the Vok. I can fight him. If I can kill him and flip the cap, boom, that's a double swing there. We're getting the points from killing that ship, and we're continuing to, number one, pause their income and potentially snatch it. Okay, if we can get a cap that the enemy has, it goes from generating 36 points in their favor to being neutral while we're on it to actually generating 36 points per minute in our favor. So that's a huge swing. That's basically another 72 point swing per minute by flipping the cap. So that's why if we're in domination mode games where we have home caps, usually those are the 4 cap games where your team will start with 1 cap already taken or controlled. Likewise, the red team will have one. If you can manage to get that one, that's a huge swing. All right, so that's what we're looking for. Yes, capturing a neutral base, good. Capturing a controlled base by the enemy team, better. All right, now here's the York's coming in. He's low. We're gonna go ahead and shoot at him. We got the fire on him. But at this point in time, we got the 3 caps, and we got the cruiser on our team. That's probably not sinkable, because we got the York over here, we got the Vok to the south of us, and the cruiser would have a hard time killing himself in this case. I'm not going to say your teammates aren't going to try to lose the game, at least seemingly so. But at this point in time, this game is basically a lock, okay? Even if I die, which I'm not going to die, I'm going to preferably kill both of these guys. But the York elects to slam on the brakes and stay away, and the Vok elects to sail off. Great, I don't care. I'm going to drop the anchor here. Come after me. What are you going to do? Because I've already won the game. We got 4 caps. All right, and look at the score differential. Tied in terms of ships, up 300 points. All right, so that's basically what you want to mentally do. Draw an oval, maybe a square around the edge of each of those caps. Okay, so A, B, C, that's the plane surface. Maybe one square to the north, south, east, west. That's kind of the playing field. That's the most relevant playing field. Anytime you're spending outside of that, like look at where the Vok is, not to pick on him now, but 2 squares, 3 squares south of that oval, irrelevant. You're in the wrong position. That's very easy to determine. You have no chance to impact the game in a relevant way because capturing the bases and controlling them is the objective of this game. Hopefully that helped you guys out and you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. We got lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. I love to hear from you guys and we'll see y'all later. Peace.